Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining.
Oh.
Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining.
I don't know in what position, but it is in their the last competitive series they played before this tournament. They picked a Doom.
Dire team pick.
Right. So apparently, after newbie has run Night Stalker well enough in the past few tournaments, people are like, okay, I guess he's first ban material now because Kaka's ownage. But I don't know. I guess the heroes is really good now.
10 seconds remaining.
It's very strange. Weird world we live in.
5 seconds.
That Bristleback
remaining.
and Night Stalker are top 2 bans. But whatever works, I guess.
Pick.
I mean, it's pretty good.
Radiant team pick.
Hmm.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Well, this is exactly what they did the other day, right?
And I don't understand
Reserve
the
time.
Phoenix pick. And maybe it'll be better,
Why did they first pick it?
I don't know.
Nobody is playing Phoenix.
I don't think it's going to get
time
banned.
in a row they've
Maybe you want to
picked
play around the Phoenix, but they didn't do that last time either, right? So it just didn't do anything in lane.
Of all of the heroes to first pick, is anyone going to be picking Phoenix? Like, the chances of it getting banned seems relatively low.
Right.
And, if you... or Phoenix Trien, right? There are those kind of combos. They didn't really do anything like that.
Silencer.
And, Bat Rider, Phoenix, I guess there's some synergy. They're all grouped up. You can lay down the fire. It's more damage over time. Sticky Napalm slows their attack speed. But, when you pick it this early, you just pick Slark or Juggernaut or any other hero or Lifestealer. He doesn't really care so much about Sticky Napalm.
And honestly, too, the Phoenix, it didn't do anything in lane, and then it got killed multiple times while supernovaing in team fights as well. So it clearly, I don't know, and Andy said it best, you need something to come up with the Phoenix in terms of team fight, and you need something to come up with the Bat Rider in terms of being able to burst heroes down quickly. Something like an Ursa or a Terrorblade or something when they get this lasso, and they didn't have that either. So Singularity, they're going to go for it again. I mean, they almost did win the game, to be fair, and a lot of that was on Nisha's Ember Spirit. We might see that get banned by Danish Bears, I'm not sure.
10 seconds remaining.
And it was needed lockdown, but it also felt like that game. I remember at the end, us saying it felt like the silencer was not that impactful.
Yes. Yeah.
Reserve time.
Singularity has last pick.
The Clockwork was first pick, I believe, wasn't it? So it was Phoenix Bat Rider.
Yeah. It's
Radiant team.
There are some good things against the Clockwork for sure.
You're right.
They actually almost did the all-fire team. Ember Spear was another one they had.
Yeah, so yesterday they had Phoenix, Bat, Ember, and then they went Troll Bane.
And Troll is red. So there's that. I know that's not fire,
5 seconds remaining.
Right, exactly. That's a good point.
Reserve time.
And they don't ban it again. Well, all right then. Danish Bears did the sniper, so we'll see if that's going to be the case.
Team pick.
Again. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see who gets it if anybody does. That's pretty good. I like that. That's a good combo. That's a combo I can get down with, and I think it's better than yesterday. Static Storm with a Phoenix Egg on top with a kinetic field. I'm a big fan of, actually. I think it's a pretty good team fight. And also, it's good because Disruptor's a counter against Batrider with Glimpse, and they take it away from Danish Bears.
5 seconds remaining.
I like it. I mean, it does work well with the Phoenix. It is something, at least, to block people out of the egg, right, when they try to commit for it.
Yeah.
A lot of good team fight.
All right. I mean, it's kind of an NA thing. We saw it a couple times from Complexity and a South American squad, Infamous. They did it for Tomato. I mean, it was okay. I mean, they had some games where they owned with it, and they had some games where he got owned. The games he got owned, he was like against a Viper or something, and he just got crushed.
Have to be core.
Yeah.
Very good against Phoenix.
Yeah.
Cast Last Word, and
10
actually played.
seconds remaining.
So if you cast Last Word on you,
5
dive, you can't. You get silenced
remaining.
immediately. That's how it works. So basically, see globals.
Reserve time.
Probably just try to power level Lotus Orbit.
Oh.
Radiant
But it can work in
pick.
Yeah, Razor versus Lifestealer, pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean,
That is kind of a classic counter, right?
Yeah.
10
Yeah, but I
seconds
think,
remaining.
Okay against it.
5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Aren't they just Singularity, though? Okay. They're just both. Okay, I'm into it. All right, so what are we looking for? Assuming the silencer is not mid and it's going to be support in the off-work clock waiting for Hesta Joe, which is what happened last game. They played. We're probably going to need another support here along with the mid, somebody against Razor. They will pick up the Nyx Assassin, so it could be Nyx Silencer support, I guess.
I think it's to be clock support.
Clock support?
Clock Nyx.
Yeah, the only reason I say otherwise is because Hesta Joe had an amazing game as the offlane clock yesterday, but I do think they could go support if they wanted to.
10 seconds remaining.
It's
5
very
seconds
good against
remaining.
Batrider. It's kind of Phoenix,
Reserve
maybe
time.
bad. Kind of needs BKB, but Razor's kind of good against. Not it.
It doesn't strike me as particularly good or bad. Like, you know, if he's playing one, he gets pretty farmed. He gets, you know, like Orchid or Atos and fighting items like that.
Right.
I could see it being fine, but I could also agree with Purge. I don't really see why you would do that. There doesn't seem to be a particularly large...
Good at setting those up. Could work against Phoenix as well. Spike Carapace versus Sunray for.
Yeah. You know, we actually saw Singularity, I think, ban the Nyx when they had the Phoenix and the Batrider last game they played, and they didn't ban it this game. And Andy brought up a good point, is because that Spike Carapace is so strong against all these heroes with the laser, with the Firefly. It's pretty much an AoE stun at that point, is what he mentioned. So letting that through is very interesting. I'm kind of surprised they went for it.
It's another Lifestealer bomb as well. It just fits.
Yes.
I mean, Danish Bears is still reliant on their block on the Nyx. Lifestealer can get active, but
10 seconds
he'll be really
remaining.
effective. It's very good against heroes like Disruptor bad, I guess, is
5 seconds
bomb targets.
remaining.
Razor's possible, but so I think that's the one wrench in Danish Bears' hands right now is
Radiant
feeling
team
Razor's
pick.
going to be a little bit tough sometimes.
That will be an issue. And we'll see what they pick up here. Singularity seem to think it's a mid as they ban out the Quap. Conversely, Danish Bears will ban the Ursa as Singularity probably need a safe laner unless they put Razor safe lane, which would be a little interesting.
10 seconds.
That's another hero
remaining.
good against Lifestealers.
Yep.
Safe
Fair
lane
enough.
Razor can be fine,
5
though. I
seconds
mean, if you
remaining.
build him high tempo, I think getting Aghanims on Razor makes a lot of sense. It's the games where you don't see that Ags come out
Reserve
that
time.
often, I feel. He's underwhelming, right? But that allows him to transition from dominating the lanes and then actually taking objectives and letting you close out.
He
the game.
can, but a lot of his benefit is like Viper. You wouldn't put Viper in the safe lane because it's about beating the clear against, and I
Yep.
put him in a dual lane, clockwork, and a Nick. Even
That's
if you static link a clock, he just presses cogs and you're
10
screwed. Like, if you don't get caught in the cogs with him.
All right.
So I think they
Ooh.
needed
Dire
damage.
team
That part was clear, I think, because they would have trouble killing
Templar
Razor. So I think the
Assassin.
Lena pick is pretty solid.
Oh, it is going to be safe lane Razor then, huh? Or off lane trial it, like aggressive try, but I don't think that's the case.
But position 1 Razor. Yeah, Exotic Deer.
I'm going to turn the music down because it was up 8 to 80%. I don't think we really want that.
Yeah, I was rocking out last night
As-
just listening to the Dota music.
They would have too much trouble laning. Either way, Razor's still good against lifesteal late game, so it's passable. It's maybe not what they want to do. Safe lane's a little bit. They can make this work.
Absolutely. And I think 747 very comfortable on the Lena, a hero that he knows well. So Suns fan, we'll hear plenty more about what Purge thinks about this draft, but prediction, what do you
10
think is going to
seconds
happen in game
remaining.
1 here, buddy?
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they've got a lot of options as well. You know, Lifestealer inside of the Nyx Assassin, inside of the Clockwork, big follow-up damage. A lot of ways to start these fights. So, with that said, we're going to hand it over to Annie and Purge for our game 1 of this best of 3 series.
All right, hello everyone. We're just waiting for the anime battle screen to be done before we get into this first game of the best of 3. And again, elimination on the line. These two teams are not going to make it out of here. One of them is done with their LAN performance here at ZOTAC. So, Purge, what are you thinking so far?
I just like that you frame that around which of these two is going to lose, not which of these two on and continue. Amazing, and I just thought that was funny and worth bringing up. I'm doing pretty good though. I'm excited to see the game. The bans made me so. I just wanted to see all those heroes I got banned. I wanted to see them played. I'm like, oh, these heroes that are buffed slightly, but seen as bad. I wanted to see them get played. At least we'll see Phoenix. But looking at the draft-wise, I feel like the Radiant team has a bigger advantage. Things like Silencer is good against Phoenix, really good against Bat. They have really good disables now that can kind of prevent Singularity from moving around. And I feel like until the Razor gets to BKB, it's going to be a little bit hard for Singularity to against the Bears and take a good fight. See how it goes, but I feel like if the Radiant team gets a good early advantage, that they're going to kind of just snowball over Singularity.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot's going to depend on the lanes, and Radiant, again, they drafted to have pretty fluent lanes. They can move around. The Nyx Assassin can be rotating mid if he
30
wants to go in
seconds
for a
to
little bit of a
battle.
gank, and we'll see. I mean, what is the most important for Danish Bears to lock down in Singularity? Like, what do they need to keep in check?
Phoenix Ultimate is definitely a big one that can be really impactful. Disruptor Ultimate as well, if you can grab a bunch of important heroes in there, that'd be very good for them. Or getting heroes outside of the cogs, basically, because Clockwork's cogs are a huge nuisance to anybody that's trying to maneuver around the fight,
The
basically.
battle begins.
I think that could be impactful, but really, who initiates first? I think big thing.
All right, so we'll see everyone going down to their respective lanes here. Rune's going to be pretty even 1-1 scrap, nothing too crazy, but looks like down bottom, Peyto's going to be looking in for that pull, just going harassing back Ace, and well, Ace just going to be smacking away at him, and they do have Noya there as well.
Really doesn't want to get. Very smart of him to walk around beeline. It's gonna bit, but as long as they stay aggroed to him. Okay, the whole purpose of this is that he gets a full creep wave. It's gonna mess up the lane push here. Lifestealer. Harder for him to. I'll do it under.
Yeah, Batrider will have to go and gobble up a little bit of regen just because he does get very low from Noya biting at him. We'll see, he just takes a tango in, and I think that's going to be all we hear from our Batrider. It's going to be
Oh, he
kind
pulls it into the Ancients.
Oh, nice.
That's tough actually, cause, and all these creeps getting into 9 now are only going to get 50 experience, 50% Batrider, and we almost saw this happen last game actually, but the other hero didn't actually pull through. He's going to get this kill maybe. Okay.
Oh, impale off the mark, and that means there's probably not enough damage in lockdown. Batrider still pretty speedy with that 335 movement speed, starting with the boot, so he's able to cut himself back in. Meanwhile, mid lane, already lots of action here as Disruptor's just been hanging out here. Templar Assassin definitely needs help at the early levels.
the Knicks did such baller things and then just threw it away with that stun. If he lands that stun, I'm pretty sure he gets a kill. He would have needed 2 right clicks, I believe. Still messing with the bat. Like, he's doing such a good job zoning. This is maybe a little bit of an undervalued place for Nyx Assassin, but he's got tons of base regen. He's getting 4.3 per second base. So with 1 mango, he trades very, very well with opponents. And the Windlace here, he's almost as fast as the Batrider was, too. Batrider has boots, so he's just completely limiting what Bat does this game. Really effective.
Yep, totally keeping on his heels. We see Disruptor coming in to try to help and stack up camp so Batrider doesn't completely starve. But right now, we've got Ace and the Lifestealer just getting whatever he needs to. Free farming, last hit leading. Checking in towards our mid Templar Assassin. I mean, having a little bit of a rough time since the Disruptor left, but once she gets a couple of levels, it should fix it.
This is another place where Core Silencer could work, is when Silencer against a TA in the mid lane, but unfortunately for them, the Silencer is easily able to break the refraction. You just cast Curse of Silence and it cuts right through it.
Yep. Gonna be fixing the music there.
Currently yelling at my dog. Similar issues.
It's all good. So, I mean, right now we've got up top Clockwork just going in, trying to keep things in check. Just goes for a quick little pull through here. And K-Core on the Phoenix. I mean, how do you feel about this Phoenix pick? You talked a little bit about the ultimate being a huge zoning tool, but last time we saw Singularity grab the Phoenix, it really wasn't the most impressive pick.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agreed with what Juan and Andrew said. It does feel weird. It feels like one of these things where the team just super values it. They're like, oh, we feel like we need Phoenix because team fight, which means that in the mid game we can win bites and turn that into a Roche. It could be stuff like that. It's just something that they genuinely believe in as to patch things. Probably something like that, because on paper the Bears have way better heroes to counter it.
We'll see. Going in towards the mid lane, Nisha gonna get those refraction charges burned down. The support silencer being really helpful. And again, you talk about comfort picks. Rise on that support silencer is something we've seen a lot out of Danish Bears. And similarly, the Clockwork being run still in that 3 position. In the last couple of patches, we've seen more and more Clockworks going for that roaming 4. A little bit slower on levels, but not as much pressure to land those amazing initiations and get that farm.
Either way, Silencers just creating space by pressuring the lane. They don't want the TA to get out of control. The other supports are... Oh,
Batrider finally goes down. His luck ran out, and Noya gets that much-needed kill. Wishing he got it a couple minutes earlier, but still works. And now 747 does end up getting the kill on Nisha in the mid lane. Up top, Clockwork initiated, so action all around the map here. Level 6s haven't even started to come out yet, and things are already getting crazy.
A little bit hard for them to find those initiations sometimes. Like Silencer and Nyx are not typical 4s, really, in that it's difficult for them to execute their kills. But they're making it work, and it's definitely impacting. I mean, this is a 2,000 gold advantage right now, the Danish Bears. So,
yeah, looking to even that
good
up.
Start.
Mid lane, you do have a smoked up Disruptor coming in, but Lena just going to be self-clearing up, and there's really not much Disruptor can do against that. Just going to get pinged out as Hester Joe makes his way through the river. Man, Ace.
Level 4.
Glimpse back, keeping Clockwork zone now. Lena gets a chance just to solo down this Disruptor. Should be able to find the kill. Disruptor just trying to cut his way through, but does end up going down. Meanwhile, Ace goes and grabs a solo kill, so still feeling good overall for the Radiant.
This is looking really bad for Singularity. I feel like they're losing this game harder than they should. I mean, part of that is that they have good lane matchups, but I just feel like the Danish Bears are getting way more out of it. Nyx Assassin was solo zoning the Batrider, for God's sake, and Silencer was pressuring mid, but he's still level 4, and their off lane is 4, making every single one of their lanes work while doing lots of little things that can make it harder for single blocking camps. With that said, there is a lot of stacks here. Would help the TA a lot, but I think she's got to be the one to kills into this game, because right now it's just like take any fights in the mid game.
Yeah, it's just so difficult for Nisha to actually get up and get farming and be aggressive, because 747 can just sit back with that extreme attack range and just burn down refraction charges. So Nisha definitely having to play safe, and that Disruptor's help has been super invaluable. But we'll see when Singularity start to get going. Down bottom, another impale onto the Batrider. He's just going to go try for the TP out. Is the damage going to be there? It looks like not quite. And a TP in for the Phoenix. Just going to be sitting back watching everything burn, because Ace is getting some serious farm down here. 37, 38 last hits now.
Yeah, I actually thought that the Batrider messed up his TP and that was him teleporting to by the tower. It's pretty standard for him to get. Maybe because he feels like he won't be able. Maybe he's just worried about accelerating his farm to justify making it.
Yeah, definitely not trying to get up and scrap as early as possible, thinking about the late game, thinking about making himself useful. And I mean, how does the Radiant in general fare into the late game?
Still going to be really good. And Mobile Silence obviously peaked off as people buy things like BKBs, but that still forces a lot of support. Bad position. And they've also got Nyx to look for kills. They've got Clockwork hooks. I feel like they have a lot of really good options.
Absolutely. Hesta Joe just feeling no pressure at all here on this off-lane Clockwork. He hasn't really received any ganks or rotations, but still just totally taking care of himself. And now hits that 6, so he does have the hook shot. Might want to start moving with his team soon. Do you think he's going to stick around and farm more, or is he ready to go?
Oh, hell no. If he is, I'm going to flame him. But pretty much every Clockwork that hits 6, you hit the base to heal because you're usually out of mana. Buy a smoke, go somewhere good. He definitely needs to look. Probably should play around. That'd be the easiest kill. Damage and ranged. Whereas if she plays around Lifestealer, he'd have to get caught in the caught. Yeah, look at. Try to set up.
Ooh. Bottom lane. K-Core could be in some trouble. Icarus dive away. Looks like Noya's going to keep the chase up, but may just have to back out. He's going to get clipped by a Fire Spirit there, but the TP in from our Disruptor here might slow things down. Global Silence committed. Ryze still taking a ton of damage, and now with Peytos coming in, it's looking grim. Flame Break off the mark, but Exotic Deer, he's hunting, and he will find the kill onto that support silencer. Noya just going to be TPing out, and it will be completed. Exotic Deer gets a big bushel of damage to go farm with, but that initiation was not as clean as I was expecting from Danish Bears.
The Clockwork's ready to hook shot in the mid lane as well. They can land it. Catch him. Okay, he does get him.
Yep, goes in, traps him in the cogs. Ace making the rotation on through, and they just blow up that TA. Those refraction charges just got burned right away. Now, Batrider's here trying to seek some revenge, but Ace is still fighting all the way up and through this. Exotic Deer has that static link running, dealing up a good amount of damage. Now the Phoenix trapped by the cogs. Hesta Joe makes it down to the right side of the river, and it looks like it's going to be a big stalemate. Couple of spells used, but in the end, no more blood.
Yeah, it was really good for Danish Bears. Yay, they get some tower damage in, they escape with the cogs. They'll be happy with that. Without a single. First, all 5 of them go to the bot lane to try to defend. They kill a silencer, good for them. But then they all have to run mid, and in the meantime, some people on Danish Bears are still farming. They should be maximizing gold collect. The tower damage is also hugely in favor on the mid lane. Once they kill that, it makes it so much. That's definitely the big target there for them, is that they kill as many towers as possible. That's less free sentry wards, and it should make it easier for their gank heroes like Clockwork and Nyx to keep getting kills.
And speaking of Clockwork, Hesta Joe just kind of rotating around the jungle, picking out what he's seeing, but without anyone else there, it's going to be pretty difficult to initiate. Now K-Core under the tower, getting shoot on by Ace. Phoenix just goes for that long-range Icarus dive, but does not have a TP. So it's just going to be him running for his life, trying to fly away. There will be a glimpse back, but well, it's just going to be helping that Clockwork set up. And yeah, Hesta Joe just takes that opportunity, goes in and snaps up that Disruptor. I bet he's wishing he didn't participate in that one.
Yeah, he tried to glimpse him back to make sure that the Phoenix lived longer, but did not work. Battery Assault was used, and then he had to turn that into another kill. Get the double out of it. That's really good for Clock.
Yeah, Hesta Joe having a pretty nice game here. Almost done with that Blade Mail here and only 10 minutes in now. Down bottom, Ace trying to initiate onto our Batrider. He goes for the TP, but is it going to be long enough? Oh, one more hit from Ace would have taken him out.
A little bit more mana. He would have rage for the... He's almost got his Midas. Lena going stand build, it looks like Bloodstone, Shadowblade is, and the other side, the coin. Okay. Should be about the part where TA just kind of accelerates and gets out of control, but her net worth is actually way below Radiant Heroes, Lifestealer. As yes, she can do stacks, but Batrider cleared a lot though. And I haven't even seen starting now to do that, so maybe we'll see her net worth get. It's basically just Singularity trying to catch up right now, trying to stabilize their lane, but it just keeps flat for them.
Yeah, TA is still finishing up those treads, finally gets that last ingredient, but gonna be a little bit longer out of her till we start seeing some serious damage, and the Razor's not feeling super crazy strong either, so it's really just down to this Light Stealer to set the pace of the game, and so far these 3 Radiant heroes, turns out they just want to go full Devi mid lane, and this tower, not going to be long for this world.
Classic going to, yeah. Bloodstone a little faster. The 2 supports are still only level 5, which is definitely a big negative for. A little bit more fighting, it should be good. Oh, he's going to get this. Nope. Spiked Carapace, not quite lasting long. Get the Nyx liable to save. Clockwork's alive. And he can try.
Yeah, he's looking to go in, and I think this is the time where Danish Bears, they just want to be all over the map, keeping Singularity on their toes, because Batrider doesn't have Blink yet. Still about 1,000 gold off. They know TA is weak. They know Razor doesn't really want to fight without many of his items up, so this is a good time to strike. And up top, it looks like Exotic Deer is going to be targeted. They get the Impale. Hookshot to follow up. Pop him in the cogs. Now Phoenix is there, but still no Supernova off of him, so it looks like K-Core is actually in some serious trouble. Does get the Icarus dive out, and no Hookshot to follow up, so probably letting Phoenix off with a warning here. Down bottom, though. Things, yep, he's in that front creep. They're just going to run this in.
I just...
Yeah.
Down slowly.
Back down to the bottom. Rise. This time will go down. Pops off a silence right before he goes in. Laguna Blade takes out Disruptor, so they're making it up in terms of little support kills, but Nisha is still feeling really good about snapping up some of that gold. Finally starting to get that damage that we all know early game TA can produce.
I'm still not super confident in Singularity's chances right now. 1,000 gold advantage for the Radiant team, and yeah, they're getting some kills, but they're still losing map control. They're feeling easily pressured. The Phoenix is still not 6, so still no Supernova. That's just a place where that hero sucks, honestly. Like, if you don't have Supernova, Phoenix has so many vulnerabilities.
Yeah,
Danish Bears are just outplaying their opponents.
They'll just TP in and then be forced to Icarus dive away from a fight. Now Hesta Joe just going to get dragged back, but again, takes that opportunity. Just goes straight back in, hook shots onto the Disruptor, and this poor guy is so squishy. Will eventually go down. Hesta Joe takes credit for that. Now Razor not able to find the kill on Hesta Joe with that Plasma Field. He's able to TP out. That was very close for comfort, but Exotic Deer still finds nothing.
Back to the Plasma Field. It sucks for him. Maybe he should have gone closer, like a Eye of the Storm, but thought he would get him with the double. That's just a reaction to Clockwork getting so many kills and so many levels that he survived through something he probably... Clarity's trying to stabilize, but they're still not doing some ganks. They don't have the best ability. Like, I think their best move is smoke with Disruptor, Phoenix, Batrider or something, and maybe Razor or T below somebody. They have to run at somebody. You way too many skills to get kills. They have to do that right now.
Yeah, net worth starting to get a little bit spooky now. Next assassin going to be going in. Will get glimpsed back, as they do have a sentry ward here, so good heads-up play there from the Dire. Will prevent another death on the Disruptor, but you can still feel Singularity just completely hurted here. Now Nisha going to get hookshot down bottom. They're breaking those refraction charges. Now she's totally vulnerable. Goes in for the melds. Do they have anything? And just waiting on that light strike array. Razor comes down, trying to offer some aid. Now they do get Templar Assassin a little bit lower, but now they've got to worry about retaliation. Phoenix goes in with that Supernova, just trying to zone back Hesta Joe, and it looks like it will be successful to push Danish Bears back for now, but they're still up and fighting. Glimpse going to be coming in. They do isolate down the Clockwork. It's going to be a pretty big kill, keeping Hesta Joe in check, but now Noya wants to find the follow-up, the Impale off the mark, and they can't reconnect onto that Razor. Rise still chasing forward, but they're not able to find anything there, so good movement by Singularity.
Yeah, they weaved in and out of the fight pretty well. Phoenix felt a little bit ineffective, but he did some pretty good damage. Kept his allies alive, and the TA helping out with that last kill, that was very beneficial. A little, but in the meantime, Life Stealers. This is definitely one of the weaknesses. Safe lane Razor.
Oh, Batrider's so close to his blink. Oh no!
50 gold.
50 gold off
really
of that
sucked.
blink. That was a couple of creeps difference, but now he's got to sit back 30 seconds in the well and then another minute or so to farm it up, so that just really delays Singularity's game potential a ton.
At this point, they did at least spot that the Infest came. I don't know if they... Clockwork.
Oh.
Find out very soon.
Yeah, Hesta Joe wants to go straight in. Sentry dropped, but Disruptor, that's not going to save you. Yeah, they go in. Now there is a TA there ready to do some serious damage. A Meld Strike comes forward, but Noya is going to be earning back up. An Exotic Deer finds himself in a very precarious situation here. Triangulated in, and now there's a Dragon Slave going in. Exotic Deer getting low. Got a ton of damage and sprays out one last plasma field, but does still go down. Meanwhile, Lina just focusing down everyone she possibly can. Global Silence comes in as they want to continue to find a full wipe here. They do end up losing their Lina. Peitos able to get back over this cliff. Now TP's coming forward as Disruptor respawns. The first casualty of this fight is back in just to go down right again. That's rough, man.
He baited the rage out, and now he cannot use rage again. Very worth it. Ugh, Singularity stuff thing. I was a little surprised the Sentry Ward botted out the gank. They put that down to try to protect against, but too delayed. They finished.
They're looking for it. Hesta Joe still 10 seconds on that hook shot. Just going to try to keep eyes on the girl. They see her walking towards this cliff, but looks like they'll just regroup for now. I mean, the good thing right now about Danish Bears is they're not super ultimate reliant. The hook shot and the clockwork, great initiation tool. The Global Silence is needed for big fights, but you know, just Lina and Nyx, they can combo up and find a couple of kills themselves without using any ultimates.
Yeah, that's what's cool about their draft. Lina plus any of their heroes really clockwork. It's like taking two heroes, putting them in the same lane. They're both off-lane heroes. They both kind of fulfill similar roles, but they have different strengths and weaknesses.
Oh, hook shot in, another hit and a miss. Or rather, a connect from Hesta Joe. He traps Nisha in the cogs. They've got Dust this time, so her meld's not going to be doing anything crazy. She gets pushed back and dies immediately. Now, K-Core comes back in. This Phoenix does manage to get off the Supernova, but it's just going to be a moment of Radiant's time before they burn that down as well. It does buy time for the Razor to TP out on the back lines.
That was the shortest.
I mean, that was just kind of a gimme. He kind of flies in a little bit late, doesn't really offer much survivability, and, you know, just hits R, but there's no reason why Radiant couldn't immediately turn their focus to it. Now, Ace will get caught here. He's going to get dragged into that Static Storm, but he's going to be TPing straight on out. They are able to break it. Little glimpse back there, but Ace just going to be infesting into some creeps. And yep, they do know which one, but the rest of the Radiant, they're still fighting, scrapping it up together on this cliff. Phoenix, gets so close to death. K-Core barely lives.
Well, they get the ace kill. The Link really helping out, shows which creep he's in. They could deny it. He didn't even have to waste either storm, so that was a huge kill.
Meanwhile, 747. Yep, he called out that build perfectly. Just Bloodstone into Shadow Blade, and that Lina is shaping up real nicely. Still just dominating the net worth chart. Almost 10k net worth on her at 18 minutes in.
Cast your spells and die, and then you buy more items, and there's still going to be a little bit of a TA threat because Lina has, the faster she gets past her travel, maybe buys the Shivas afterwards, perhaps there's a lot of options, but if she gets an armor item or Yules, or TA is going to stop. Even then, I wouldn't be worried. 3k ahead of the...
Oh. Disruptor, I mean, gets a second chance at life here. The Impale's off the mark. Negative Urn doing some damage, and looks like, yeah, he's let off with a warning this time. Exotic Deer moves forward. Hesta Joe clips him a little bit there with that battery assault, but just going back, and Psionic Trap popped. Nisha just wants to go far, man. Doesn't want any trouble.
Probably also like to fight, though, because taking fights. 747 doing this one out the bot lane. That forces reactions. The rest of the team can go take fights into it, but wait until good time doing it.
Yep, they do know she's here. They do have that ward there, but still. I mean, Singularity's initiation, you think, you know, Bat, Blink, Lasso, it's great, but there's just so much immediate reaction coming out of Danish Bears. Batrider will almost assuredly die if he goes for those YOLO picks.
All depends how spread out they are. I mean, even something like Global Silence can shut. It doesn't matter where the silencer is. If somebody gets lassoed and you Global Silence, then that person's probably not going to die until after the lasso ends. In some cases, could be their salvation. Could be Nyx going Invis, Spiked Carapace, Lifestealer Rage. Their draft is just so... Big coordinated fight, 5 heroes on them.
Yep, big smoke in. They got that infest going. Nisha just wanders into these trees, and, well, looks like she's playing a little ring around the rosy, and might just be able to TP out cleanly. Yeah, they don't see her. They can't catch her, so lots of time wasted there for Danish Bears, but, I mean, the net worth still tells the story here.
When the smoke broke, but with that ward on the side jungle, I think the smoke broke, and that was why TA blinked away. They just pinged it now. They realized that she had an observer. She blinked a very tricky way as well, going gets out fine. Wasted smoke, Danish Bears, but
Yep, finally some pressure from Singularity onto this tier 1. It's been a long time coming. They've got Disruptor kind of positioned here as a little tripod, trying to see if anyone's TPing into the shrine. So it looks like finally a tier 1 tower will fall. Yep, they're going in, and well, immediate silence. There is going to be that infested Nyx, so it's a 2-for-1 surprise if they can lock him down. The global silence comes in though, and now Ace is hungry. Double man impale. Ace just going to work in the Bat Rider. There is going to be a Phoenix. Zip it in, goes for the Sunray, trying to keep his teammates alive, but there's 747 just laying in. Looks like this egg not going to be finished off by Ace. He does have to run. Still trying to go for the kill onto Nisha. Hook shot in from Hesta Joe. They've got everyone doing the damage they need. Rise still barely alive, burning low. Nisha on the cliff. Goes in front of the refraction, is able to blink down, but she's the lone survivor. And it's not looking like she's got long here. That is a full 5-man wipe from Danish Bears, and they don't lose a goddamn hero.
I think it was way too greedy by the Bat Rider there. He wanted to hold his lasso, maybe waiting for the Lifestealer afterwards if he expected him. But the fact that Lifestealer was able to auto-attack and Global Silence and the Nyx stun, it made it so much harder. Whereas at least, maybe if he lassos the Nyx, they don't have to deal with Spike, Carapace, Impale, things like that. So it's like they burned a lot of their ultimates, but they didn't want to burn everything. And I think it would have been just better if they got a kill. At least then there's maybe less kite potential. It should have been a little bit better executed. It's definitely a cool move.
Yeah, Singularity, I mean, really grasping at straws. You can see the net worth slowly slipping out of their control, and there's about to be a Roche amplifying things for the Radiant. I mean, what are the weaknesses right now in Danish Bears draft and playstyle that Singularity can actually get in there and exploit?
They have some low armor hero, I guess, is definitely one of them. But they've got pretty good team fight, which kind of offsets what Singularity's kind of... I just feel like some of the heroes that Singularity grabbed didn't out in the end. The Lifestealer, Razor for example. Putting Razor in the safe lane just doesn't work out so well. He's also supposed to win his by a bit. Like his late game situations are alright. Game situations are alright, but you kind of need to snowball a little bit. And he certainly can't farm anywhere near what a Lina does, and he's not either matching the Lifestealer who just this like weird position where their fights are like decent but amazing, and their opponents have better gank and just about as good a team fight. This goal disadvantage just makes it really hard. Takes some of the abusable things they have and makes them...
Yeah, I totally agree. The Razor just had a really tough time, and he was only against a clock, like just a completely solo clock. Disruptor did have to focus in towards the mid, helping that TA, so wasn't able to have that true tri-lane, but still, Razor just really underfarmed, still working on his Hurricane Pike. Now, things about to get ugly as there's a double man hook shot in. Hesta Joe traps two, TP out attempt from Exotic Deer, but it gets canceled immediately. Noya on the cliff looking to scout things out. Bat Rider sees the Nyx Assassin, but the Impale still comes through. They lock down the Razor, and they don't have that static storm for 30 more seconds. Razor's in the ground for almost a minute without any buyback, and Singularity, they're just running out of tools to take this game, or at least hold it out longer. 747 just 18 Bloodstone charges ready to start laying into some structures. Noya now is going to get jumped on, but immediately responds with that Impale. They can't seem to catch him out now. A nice lasso comes in, but Laguna Blade dropped. That Bat Rider's done for almost a minute. Global Silence comes in. Hesta Joe backing up, still alive. Disruptor comes forward, but no ult coming out of him. They lock down the TA, and that's going to be everyone but Disruptor dead, as this high ground is sufficiently pushed. Looks like at least a tier 3, if not a full set of racks.
Yeah, the Phoenix got a little bit too close there. He was Sunrain doing a ton of damage with it, but he walked all the way into melee range. He got cogged in with the Global Silence, and he wasn't able to buy himself a couple seconds to also get a super. Just a little bit of a disconnect there. I mean, obviously they don't want to take a fight because they had dead heroes, but they did go for a fight, and certainly didn't work out.
It's looking like we could have a real quick game 1 of this best of 3. Hesta Joe just pushing up so far with that blade mail, trying to do as much work as possible onto this Phoenix, who is able to egg and just stay hidden for a little bit. Glimpse back in onto Hesta Joe. He may give his life for this. Does get clipped by that Supernova Blast, but now 747 just goes straight forward. Laguna Blades down that Razor. It's yucky there. K-Core playing just a scrap of life. Does end up going down now. Rise super low. May end up burning Noya as well. Got that Carapace going, holding Bat Rider in place. Well, Lina just trying to solo down that Disruptor, making a lot of space, but she herself only burns the Aegis now. We'll see if she can actually escape out of this. Looks like 747 may take a tumble, but still so much work done by Danish Bears in this last push.
At least they got the Aegis Lina kill, but Danish Bears just is playing with their perfectly kiting their opponents, making them waste their cooldown. Get the clockwork, but it's basically like they're only getting kills because of overdriving and major mistakes that Danish Bears are only making because they feel.
Yeah, Hesta Joe is just kind of tangling around here behind the Ancient and then got glimpsed back in after he wanted out, so we'll see if they can just kind of recoup this and take this off the next fight, but if not, I mean, Roshan will be up in 6-7 minutes. We'll see if that's going to be Radiant's next point of attention.
It's definitely a good place to go. I mean, kill Shrine, take Roche, kill Shrine. So much more difficult for not get outmaneuvered. Decide to take Roche, like have a TA trap in there, or else in the area, but as soon as your opponents see you across the map pushing up bottom, for example, take Roche because it takes you 30 seconds to walk across the map. Something that Danish Bears should be able to abuse and help close out the next racks and likely the game. So basically, Singularity needs to take a fight right now in the.
Well, they're going to try. 747, very, very close in here. Hookshot comes forward. Disruptor will be forced out, but it doesn't even seem to matter. 2 heroes evaporated. Now, Global's down. Singularity might be able to use that to their advantage, but it's looking like they're just on full damage control mode, trying to make sure they don't lose their cores. But with Razor caught out here, Exotic Deer is, well, he's in a sticky situation. Does end up going down. Buybacks very few and far between. Phoenix now clipped down. Does barely manage to live, but then just gets popped by the silencer. So looks like another set of racks coming out here. It's only TA left to defend. When Disruptor comes up, he does have the Static Storm, so maybe the world's clutchest initiation can save this game, but it's looking really tricky.
It is looking pretty much impossible as far. Lots of teamfight disable, lots of initiation, vision advantage. Danish Bears have it. Singularity would have to put almost all their forces on one.
Hookshot back up. We'll see if Hesta Joe wants to go for it. And Batrider's in, does have that flaming lasso ready, and looks like that's going to be enough, just the threat of it. All the heroes respawning for Danish Bears to back off, but they have pretty much total map control at this point. If Singularity leave their base, they are just done, but well, they gotta make some moves.
They probably could have finished the game out there, but they're just playing it safe. Taking more advantage.
747 just going right back in with that Shadow Blade. They just want to keep the gas pedal push. They want to end this game right here, and looks like 747 just spraying out the Shivas, looking for stragglers. Now Batrider comes in, will grab the infested Nyx, but Ace is right there, just starts chewing on the cores. There's going to be a nice zoning ult from the Disruptor, but he's still caught out in the cogs. And that is the story of this game. It's just Hesta Joe landing really great hook shots, isolating targets, and there's plenty of damage to back it up. Noya might get burned by that Sunray, but just goes and with that Carapace, it's a brief pause. Nisha still full health. That refraction's gonna be burning low pretty soon, and you can see just how easily she melts to all the damage on Danish Bears. And finally, the GG is called. Singularity now 1 game down against Danish Bears. And I mean, man, the Radiant looked so clean this game.
Yeah, they really did. I think their lane pressure was fantastic. Just moving the silencer on top into mid, just show up mid, cast Arcane Curse, and all of a sudden TA's advantage of refraction is gone. It means now Lina can constantly harass the TA and get last hits while nuking her. Whereas normally it would be but effectively. The laning stage was just much worse for you than it should have been. They just left the Razor pretty much by himself, never really let him get kills. And they also kind of stomped the offlane as well.